Hello everyone, Scorm here and welcome back to my channel. Today I have for you a video in which we're going to see what Ironman can do in all viable PVE content. This will include his runs in WBU, ABX, GBR, and squad battle. And I just want to display his versatility in all these modes because, there's still those that think that he's only viable in maybe World Boss because of his one-shot method, but he can actually perform quite well in all the PvE content. I'm not gonna display Shadowland because there's really not much to show. I mean, I can do stage 80 or whatever, and a few seconds. It's not going to take any amount of time, and I just don't feel like that's worthy of a display. Since my last video, I have made some alterations to Ironman. We actually have powered him up even more. He was at 40,000 energy attack. Now he is at almost 43,000. Besides that, the build remains the same. Obviously, the build is a golden Ironman build, meaning that everything is maxed out. The cards also remain the same. I'm probably not going to be making any changes to this anytime soon because I have terrible luck with rolling cards. But my card set is very good. For PvE, obviously there's not much PvP value here, but for PvE it definitely gets the job done. Everything else, still can't get to type 6 with Ironman, and I probably never will at this rate. I've spent hundreds of million gold on trying to get him there, and I never do, so it's not a big deal. And let's dive right into it and see what he can do. So for those wondering what changes I could possibly make to an already golden build Ironman, the answer is pretty simple, is spend more money to get very minuscule upgrades to his build. So I spent some money and I bought some double energy attack Odin's Blessings rather, and slapped those on. So he's almost got every slot and an Odin's Blessing, but I'm in no rush to fill every slot with Odin's Blessing. But if anyone was interested to see what upgrades I made, it's pretty much just that. Yeah, I added one of those too because it's still more energy attack than a mythic energy Uru, and I had one laying around and I just decided I would use it on him. But yeah, besides that, that's pretty much it. There's not much more I can do to him right now. So now let's dive into the content. So we start this run with Call Obsidian 70. I haven't had many opportunities to push Call much higher because I've been working so much on Thanos, but the rotation remains the same. You want to hit him as hard as you can at the very beginning of the fight with the 3-4 delayed cancel co-op 5 rotation, and then you want to quickly build up your tier 3 and switch out. So we switch out here and we're going to use Fury and switch back into Ironman, go into 3-4 delayed cancel co-op, tier 3-5, which is Ironman's most powerful rotation. It's like his spirit bomb, so to speak. It's his finisher. Again, because Corvus Glaive is very predictable in the beginning, the rotation for him is very similar to Call Obsidian, in which you do Nick Fury, then 3-4 delayed cancel co-op 5, and hit him as hard as you can. We're on stage 75 here, so it's a pretty impressive run because Corvus has such high energy defense in phase 1. So the damage drops off a little bit after the first shot because his energy defense again is so high. So we just have to continue wearing him down and hitting him as hard as we can, as often as we can. You're not going to shy away from using your tier 3 rotation in this one, because the longer the fight goes, the less impressive the run becomes, I guess. So the goal is simply to hit him hard as much as you can and get into the second phase where you can really put the nail in the coffin very quickly. So we're going to build the tier 3 up here, hopefully finish him off very quickly, and then switch to Nick Fury and get ready for the final rotation where he doesn't have such high energy defense in the second phase. It seems like he has no energy defense in the second phase. So we're just moving about, biding our time here, and we're going to switch into Ironman now, and we're going to finish Corvus off in a single rotation, and we're moving on. That is stage 75 done very quickly. Ironman could probably push to 80 plus. Now here's the most difficult of all the world bosses that Ironman has to face, at least at stage 75, because the beginning one shot here is very unpredictable, because Ebony Maw has these annoying iframes that he goes into. So you're not always going to get that really powerful first strike on Maw at 75, but you can get it at Maw 70. Maw 70 is a 2-shot almost every single time, but Maw 75 is very different. You have to rely on very RNG mechanics to lock him in place so that you can 2-shot him. It's very difficult. It's something I'd probably have to make an entire video on myself. And finally, we're here at Thanos. This is the highest stage I've pushed so far, on my way to 50, and the Thanos rotation always remains the same. It is switch to Fury into Ironman, and then perform your 3-4 delayed cancel co-op 5 rotation, and that fight is over in 7 seconds regardless. Now here we're doing ABX, a mode many people don't expect Ironman to excel in, and rightfully so. There's such high competition in ABX, especially for Blast Day. Here we're doing Free Day, because I think I missed the Blast Day. But the thing with Free Day is that the Frost Beast does have a barrier that comes up a lot that can limit Ironman's damage. So you're constantly having to work around that. The rotation in ABX is different from World Boss in that you're not doing 3-4 delayed cancel 5. You're doing 3-5 complete 5 and then into 1-2-4 or 3-5-4-1-2. And that can sometimes leave Ironman in a position where he has all of his skills on cooldown. Although it's not very often, it does happen. But another issue Ironman has in ABX is that he has bad targeting. So as you saw there, my tier 3 rotation completely missed the Frost Beast because he jumped out of the way and it just went all kinds of different directions. So, you know, that limits Ironman a lot in this mode. But even still, with the proper rotation, he can really push out the damage. I would estimate if I had a more focused ABX PVE cards, he could probably do 5 million. I don't think he could do much higher, but I definitely think he has potential to raise eyebrows with a complete PVE set. I don't quite have that for ABX because I'm not much of an ABX player, even though with my roster I could be. Right now we're just focusing on hitting the tier 3 rotation The key to that rotation is that you don't want to cancel it earlier, or you miss most of the damage. Like if you cancel his tier 3 before the beam comes out, you're really hurting your chances. But the problem with that is that, you know, Rage only has a few seconds on the proc, so you don't have long to work with. So you want to cancel the tier 3 rotation as early as you possibly can without the blue beam that comes out, without that being missed. So the timing can be very tricky, and Ironman requires quite a bit of practice in the mode to be good with. Even here, I don't quite score 4 million, but I think he does. I think he does exceptionally well for what most people would expect of him not to perform here. So 3.8 is pretty good. I like the score. I could probably do better. And finally, we're here in squad battle, at least for the very whale modes are concerned. Most people switch out their main character in the beginning to choose someone who has better movement speed. Ironman has some of the fastest movement speed in the game inherently, so you really don't have to switch him out. You just have to make sure you're using 5 in the most effective way possible to hit as many enemies as you can. And the good thing about 5 is that it's not always fired off in the same direction he's facing. It's fired off where enemies spawn. So the 5 can teleport all the way across the map if it has to. You'll see it appear behind him, in front of him, to the left, to the right. It's a very versatile AoE, and I believe that gives him an edge, at least in the first 2 phases of this squad battle, in regards to getting a better score. It's in the 3rd phase that things become more dicey, because Ironman, believe it or not, is stuck in place a lot, and because Surtur's attacks stun, that can leave him quite vulnerable. But even here, we score 225,000 in the first round, which is really good. The 2nd phase here is much of the same. You just hit fast, hit often, and use 5 to gather as many enemies into it as you can. Another thing with 5 and with fodder, when you're facing fodder, is that it will pull enemies into it. So it's, again, a very versatile skill. The problem with Ironman's base rotation in squad battle is the 3 cancel. You either want to cancel it or you don't want to cancel it. It's tricky, and his 3 can fire off just like his tier 3 does in very erratic directions. So you want to refrain from using it so much, but as you can see, you can move it around. You can control it a little bit, but the blast is so brief. Doing this is not ideal, and I don't usually recommend using his tier 3 during these first 2 phases because of the targeting. But if you can get away with it and quickly build back up your tier 3, I don't see too much of a problem, because it will hit. It does have a good channel time, so it can hit enemies that spawn. So we score 500k here, I believe. Well, close to it. Now is the trickiest part of the squad battle fight is Surtur. And the problem there is, like I mentioned earlier, Ironman's mostly stationary. So you want to make sure you channel your immunity. Like right here, I got stunned, and that's going to happen because Ironman stays put a lot during most of his rotation, unless you go into 3-4-1, but that's not the optimal rotation. So you want to make sure you channel his immunity as Surtur's attacking, not as the attack hits you, because then you'll get stunned. And then, you know, you're obviously picking up all the light to build up as much damage as you can, and then letting loose on Surtur while he's frozen with your tier 3 skills. So we continue our push here, and we just build up as much damage as we can, picking up light, and we kind of refrain from using his tier 3 early. As much as that sucks, I know you want to use the tier 3 rotation as often as possible to build up scores, but it's just different with Ironman because the targeting's not there. But if everything comes together, Ironman can definitely perform at a high level in squad battle. I would say higher than his potential in ABX, which is really fun. Right here we're doing free day, so you're in Vibranium, you're not really going to want to use Ironman in Vibranium for free day because there are better options for it, obviously. But, you know, for Blast, he can definitely compete for the Blast spot outside of Sharon Rogers. Obviously, if you have Sharon Rogers, she's the best option for this. But if you want to just have some fun, Ironman can score very, very nicely in squad battle. 2.3, 2.4, 2.5. I don't see why he couldn't do 2.5. Finally, we're at the final PVE modes, the GBR modes. And just like ABX, his rotation is quite different in GBR than it is in World Boss. You focus more on 3-5 or 3-1-2-5 in this battle. And you want to build up your, obviously you want to build up your tier 3 rotation before the second phase begins. So don't use it in the first phase when you're fighting the Sentinels. We just want to out clear the Sentinels and make sure that we don't waste our proc, our rage proc. And then going into the second phase, we let loose with the tier 3 tier 3 into 5, and that's an immediate extinguent. I can't really say this word, but it's an obliteration of his health bar. Now we build it up again, and by the time we build it up again, he should be almost dead. So we're going to go 3 tier 3 into 5 into 4, and that usually spells the end. Even with this health shield up, we're still probably going to be able to kill him before he's able to fly off, because his 4 does hit quite hard. And that's under a minute and 30 seconds for this clear. Another impressive score for Ironman with 90% damage. So you can't get much more solo than that. And now the exciting Galactus, everyone's favorite boss in the game, and what I feel is the best representation of a character's damage in the game. And the rotation is the same here. You just focus. You don't have to focus so much on placement like you do against Mold, because in Mold he has all the mind control and the freeze. With Galactus, it's just all about raw damage output. So you get to use Ironman's tier 3 rotation a lot in this, which is really fun because he doesn't get many opportunities to do it in World Boss. Already we are less than 30 seconds in, and we have accumulated quite a bit of damage here. You don't want to get caught with your pants down, obviously, during his pattern of attacks. They're not always the same. So you have to choose wisely your big tier 3 rotation. But if you hit it, it's big damage every single time. I love that rotation so much. I would say it's my patented rotation. I don't see many Ironman players yet using that rotation to its fullest capacity. We are smoothing through this right now, and now we just have to hope that either they pick up these blue orbs or we'll go do it for them, because Ironman has such superior movement speed. He can pretty much pick up all the orbs himself, with some exceptions. Most people, I don't know why they don't know to run into Galactus when that aura is beneath you, but yeah, that's what you do. You run into him so that you can stun him. And, you know, that's so critical to good Galactus clear. Having him stunned for that long makes all the difference. I wish more players were aware of that. Now we are into the third phase. We're probably not going to finish him off here, but we can get him out of this phase very quickly with timely rotations. Galactus has an innate fear of Ironman, just as any other boss in this game does. By now he should be moving out of that phase. Now we want to build up our tier 3 as fast as we possibly can, so that we can finish this by the next time it is up. Because again, that is Ironman's most powerful set of skills. Here we are doing something very risky by staying in that aura, but we are trying to make a point here. So sometimes you have to take that risk. We are going to finish him off in the next rotation easily. So 3, 1, delayed cancel, 5, 4. Well, we're not really canceling 5, but you know, 3, 1, 2, 5, 4. That's pretty much it. And that is all she wrote for the big bad, the biggest bad in the game, Galactus. And with that wraps up the video for the Ironman PVE showcase. I think he performed exceptionally well. If I were to give him a grade for WBU, ABX, GBR, and squad battle, I would honestly say his world boss grade would be an S. His ABX grade would be a B+. His squad battle grade would be an A-, and his GBR grade would be an A+. That's pretty powerful. I'm pretty confident in that statement. I think all that would round out to a solid, 1 out of 100. I think that would grade to about a 95. If you were to put that all together. With S tier being a grade 100. There's not many characters in the game that can claim that record in its entirety, or in PVE's entirety. Could they get a 95 grade? I think the only character, literally the only PVE character with a higher grade than him, would probably be the only characters. I would say Sharon Rogers, Luna Snow, and Namor. So this, for PVE in its entirety, if you're grading world boss, obviously Deadpool is the top of the top in that, but he's not very good in GBR or ABX or squad battle. So that hurts his PVE grade a lot, even though he can perform very well in PvP. That's another discussion. Iron Man, not a PvP tune, but PvE, grade 95 in the top 5 of all PvE tunes in the game. I stand by that statement. And as we continue our climb to Thanos 50, Ironman's ultimate goal, and that goal will more than likely end up with Thanos dying in 7 seconds, but still it is the ultimate goal. I thank everyone that has been along for the ride up until this point. I have much more content planned for the future, especially content for the Cosmic Ghost Rider. I am so excited to get my hands on him and test him out and see how far I can push him, because Frank Castle is my absolute favorite character in the game. I don't think anyone that knows me could ever question that. Most people that know me know that. But, that gives me tons of content for the future, and as well as some other stuff I have planned, such as maybe a WBU tier list. Like I just said, I have Ironman as an S tier, so if you're going to make that claim, you want to grade others. But with that said, I want to thank everyone for watching this video, and please feel free to leave feedback, both negative and positive. They all help me improve tremendously. And to everyone that has given me feedback over the last couple of weeks on my last video, I thank you so much. Whether that was negative or positive, it has helped me grow so much. And with that said, if you like the content, please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.